Welcome to Answers from the Universe and the Andronicus transmissions on WolfSpiritRadio, Ever Beyond Radio, and Studio 9 Jam on YouTube. With your host, Jessica Ariel Morocco, featuring JayPee as the voice of Andronicus. Please visit www.readingsbyrael.com, that's ARAEL.
From the future, by way of the past. I bought my ticket for the 15th century. We started moving through a hole in history.
You're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio. Okay, welcome today to Answers from the Universe. This is JayPee. Today is an unusual day. Jessica has quite a lot of work to do, and so couldn't make the live show. But we were involved in a conversation off-air a few days ago that while I wasn't holding Wolf Spirit Radio. But we had a very interesting conversation, first of all, with Keith Roberts from Rebel Radio. And then Andrew Bartzis came in, and it took a very unusual direction. So please sit back, enjoy a most unusual answers from the universe, and we're going to go some places.
Okay, so communication from the Pleidians, Jessica. I believe it's what your question was for me, right?
Yeah, they're how they're supporting the human experience right now, because it's apparent that they're here, and
okay. So first of all, I
know that many of my friends that are connected to this feel the presence of the Pleiadians in a positive way.
First of all, they're seriously dealing with Fukushima. They're seriously fixing that, but they have to not fix it all, because we got to have our noses rubbed in it, because we are partially responsible, you and I, for allowing this to happen, right? So they can't just say you're good and you're done. We have to learn our own lessons, and that's the where we're at on this physical plane. As far as connecting with you, do you want me to send you direct contact?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
It's done.
Okay.
Yeah, they like you a lot, by the way. they're just delighted.
Well, they know that I've been doing some work to help out. So
you're already there. Already there.
Yeah. So it's sort of like on a parental level. Is that correct? That they're sort of overseeing, but as a parent, like a parent will come in and say, you didn't clean your room. I might help you with a little bit, but you have to learn a little bit about being responsible.
Okay, let me ask. No, I don't see it that way at all with you. You're already very adult. They're like cool. They're more interested in manifesting what you want to manifest. So you don't need parental supervision. You're good to go. What I'm seeing with them is okay. So listen. Go ahead and connect. They're telling me that you can directly connect with them. So go ahead and do that if you like.
Yeah, I think I have been already.
Yeah, you have. Yes, they're telling me yes. They're telling me it's up to you if you want to open it up further. They're also saying, you're good with who you are, so you don't need it. In other words, this is not necessary. But they really would love to facilitate and be involved. So it's just fun and good It's not like you and I are going to change the world or anything. But I'm seeing that they're very much excited by you and very much involved in who you are. And you're very available to communicate with them, and you don't need me one bit. you're already
Oh,
there.
no, she doesn't. No, we need her, actually.
Well, I think it's sort of like I'm not going to them for help on anything, but the communication I find interesting, and I feel like I said, I have talked to many different species of.
Do it now. What are they telling you? Do it now. What are they telling you right now? Can you relate that to us?
Well, they're showing me a white pyramid.
Yeah.
And they're also showing me a spaceship.
That's on their home planet, right?
I think. Let me see.
I don't know. I'm just.
Well, I think
I'm
they're showing me there's a white pyramid. The white pyramid that's out in the Himalayas, like in Tibet. And then they're showing me that, and then they showed me it looked like a U.S. spacecraft going up. So probably my interpretation of this is that, they've been here. They were here a long time ago. Maybe they were the ones that created that white pyramid in Tibet. And also they're saying that they're supporting and helping and probably giving insight in our space travel program. I know that, but I think it's almost like we have to say it out loud so everyone kind of gets an idea. So
we have to speak it
technology. Yeah, the technology is being downloaded to people so they can understand how things work, but we're being allowed to do more and more as we are becoming more and more responsible for what we're supposed to do and to protect and take care of things. So you don't give, a child something, you don't let a child play with fire. So you have to be a little bit more mature to play with, to work with fire. And likewise, you don't give an irresponsible, person to work with, spacecrafts. And, you just can't have someone going on, traveling through space that is reckless and irresponsible, or someone that doesn't know how to take care of their own planet. How can you be traveling to another planet then? So there's spiritual laws that are in place, and they're just kind of showing you that right now. So, yeah, makes sense, doesn't it?
It does, and it explains why we haven't been given all the keys. Collectively, we're not ready.
No, and there's other factors involved, and of course, there's other overseers. There's, there are star seeds here. There's people that were from these planets, and they're born, and then these other planet representatives come, and they're kind of overseeing what aspect and support that they are to the planet. So we're not alone, and we're not, in direct danger from it. The ones that technically the ones that I communicate with, and I communicate with them to make sure that no one, sometimes they're angry, and I try to talk to them and say, just explain to me why you're angry, and then I convey it to, people in conversations, like with JayPee. We always talk about this stuff, and people don't understand, but, different species do get upset, and so it's just, if we have a discussion about it, then it's sort of out in the open, and then humans are aware of what's going on, whether they believe it or not, but sort of somewhere in the back of their mind, it does make sense. So, so it's all learning.
So for the listening audience, aliens are here now. We are actually aliens. Our genetics are descended from these various races which suited us.
Yes, that's correct.
This is reality, and this is why it's so easy for you, Jessica, JayPee and Brian, if you choose to contact these. For myself, I had my doorway ripped open with a very traumatic abduction experience. When I tell you I've seen a UFO from the inside, I'm not kidding. I'm not making it up. Don't believe me or not, I don't care. Just telling you it's real. And you'll find out as time goes on what I'm telling you is truth, because I don't have any agenda. Mm-hmm. I don't have any kind of stuff I want to sell you or mess you up with. All I want is for us to be brothers and sisters together, because that's how we're going to fix this. Brian, all these things, I understand your feeling of urgency. I don't feel urgency. I don't feel fear. I don't feel need, because I know that all is in divine right order. We are here now, and we can make this the reality we want. Whether we choose to or not, that's all right. People are going to be where they're at, right? Just let it be, as good old Paul McCartney said. Let it be. We can choose to have influence and choose to decide and encourage people. Say, hey, let's be nice to each other.
All right. Thank you so much, Keith. So here. Another the spice in this pudding is ramping up. Andrew,
how you guys
Bartzis, Andrew Bartzis.
Oh, thank you. I've been having a unique evening. I've been challenging myself to source happiness from something else, and found myself not wanting to source happiness from something else. And I got into this bit of an existential epiphany. And I heard everyone.
I have a question for you, Andrew, which you're the perfect person, but go ahead, please.
Go ahead and share that with us.
So this existential epiphany is about the media in itself. I mean, I hear people presenting all of their truth, and I love it, but truth is not penetrating the existential philosophies people have been brought up on.
Yep, that's right. It's still not digging deep enough.
Right, it isn't. And my epiphany side of it was me and the person that reads the Akashic records and realizes endless levels of stream of information. And I look up at the stars and realize that we're time traveling, because all those stars that we see right now are many billions of years old by the time the light has reached us. And I've had this epiphany before, and it comes back to the expansions of the universe. There are certain lights that are about to go out in our universe that won't be able to be seen anymore, because their light is no longer part of this universe. It's been transformed into its opposition until the next level and layer and expansion of the universe.
I have a question for you, Andrew.
Sure, what's up?
I have been feeling what I call a spiritual flame. I don't know what it means, because it's really new to me. And you're such a beautiful voice, and I'd be curious to know what your take is on it. Spiritual flame. It looks really blue to me. It looks really energetic. It looks like it's really transformative, and I have more questions than answers.
So spell the word.
Spiritual flame.
F-L-A, well, the last word. The last word.
Yeah,
the last.
Flame. Flame. F-L-A-M-E.
All right, flame.
Flame on.
All right. It actually relates to, this is me using the skill here, so I'm just tapping into 700 and 800 different light frequency worlds in which you presented something called one of the many different colors of flame as a form of spiritual martial arts.
Right,
This was
and transformation.
Yeah. Well, it is to redirect information that's been weaponized, so that it can unweaponize a person that's getting their own information weaponized. And the ignition of this flame is to put it into DNA memories, because DNA memories ultimately can't be forgotten. Even though we are a race with amnesia right now, we will eventually remember. And when that does happen, there is a little tiny ember inside you which will have the universal breath put upon it. And that ember will grow bright and strong, which will then illuminate your DNA, and your DNA will become its own flame. And in that flame, you'll become luminescent, and in that luminescence, you'll have access to the DNA wisdom that you already know you inherently have. It's just be a new layer of interaction with it.
Okay, so
that makes total sense. I totally get that.
So there's a little bit more to that. That flame was manifested into physical technology, which was one of your not too high points in one of your divinity path lives, where this information, along with many others' masters' information, was used in a very negative format, and it made sort of like the understudies of different ascended masters pretend wannabe ascended masters. And one of the things that we're dealing with all throughout our society now are these pretend ascended masters that are using copied books.
It's what I've been telling people. Don't buy into somebody just because they appear to be a guru.
Right.
Right.
Use your own source.
Yeah, exactly. And, I try to be the anti-guru and tell everyone to empower themselves.
Connect with your heart.
Beyond gurus.
Yeah. So, JP, how you been?
My man, it's good to hear. Hang on, I'm eating a potato. You always do that. Just as there was a big lump of potato, it's like, I was just going to say.
I've done so many hours of radio with JP, I've gotten him eating chicken.
Yeah.
The crap live on a show one time.
Eating with Perron. So look.
Chip time.
It's great. Why shouldn't we have a cookery show? Why not? Take the onions. I will tell you the secret of the sauce. Here, I'll
say something, please. Andrew, we've got most of the panel here on my show tomorrow night, and I would like to invite you if you feel like it. Just fun and no pressure. I love JP tremendously because he's so cool. JP, you're the coolest.
Can I finish?
Brian knows I love him dearly, and Jessica's a new friend. And I think she's just the sweetest, most beautiful person ever. And this kind of love we want to express and share with each other. And Andrew, you are just forget about it, off the charts. So if you want to join, please do. Otherwise, I know we all have lives and things to do.
What time tomorrow?
About the same time tomorrow night.
Just send me a Skype message and I'll see if I'll be able to do it.
I will. I'll bug you before the show. And,
sure. How did you find out about me, Keith? This is something
I heard you on there on the same network. I'm a host. I'm a fellow host on the network.
Hey, Keith, it's actually in 2 nights, buddy. I'm on tomorrow night. You're on the next night.
Well,
this is really more.
It's so malleable.
No, it's tomorrow night. Take time zones
I think it's the end of the show, JP, is it not?
Well, that, I think, was the replacement for the Terry Joyce show, who sadly has left us. She's left a big hole. I don't know if I could fill that right now because of, I do usually have a Tuesday come in. Anyway, thanks very much, everybody. We'll come off the air because I think somebody's going to take the channel. Thank you so much for listening, and hopefully you enjoyed something of it. Good night, everybody.
I love Terry Joyce.
Good night.
Good night.
Love you all.
Love you all.
There you go. You dropped the server, my friend.
Yeah. So how you been, JP?
Hey, how are you?
I've been doing good.
Good to hear. Look, I want to introduce Jessica to you. Jessica Morocco, Andrew Bartzis. Andrew has he passed through WolfSpiritRadio on the way to Revolution Radio. He's got his own show. Okay. He's got his own TV station. He's got his lovely Australian co-host. He's got crystals up the wazoo everywhere. He's surrounded by orgonite. He's the man of the moment. Anyway, Jessica Morocco.
And Andrew, you have a connection to these higher planes.
I know. Hi, Jessica. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, Andrew. Very nice to meet you. I have heard some of your work before, and you got an incredible channel there. I can just see that it's very, it has quite a bit of clarity and fluency.
Well, my experience started when I was very young, when I was 9, actually. Since that time, I had to view myself differently. And, we all go through our changes. When I became, into puberty, that view of the infinite child changed. And then each generation, each iteration and generation of life, you come to new layers of knowingness. And it was about understanding the knowingness isn't in competition with the I am presence. And once I figured out how to do what it is that I do, and there was no negative blowback to it, it was all in complete infinity. It was, a natural choice to become public, actually.
Well, you had all this information to share with everyone, and I'm amazed, JayPee, of everyone on the show today is just it's amazing. What beautiful gifts they are to the planet. People here that are here for service, to help, in all different ways. So I feel honored to be here with all of you.
Very cool. So Keith, I have not heard your show. What is it that you do on your show? I kind of heard you doing something with the Pleidians earlier. Are you there, Keith?
I am. Yes, I am. I stepped away for a moment, but I'm here now.
So what is it that you do on your show? When I was listening before, it sounded like you were communicating to the Pleiadians.
Well, yes, I've had direct contact. I think you know and understand when I tell you that I've seen a spaceship from the inside. Is kind of the short answer. I could elaborate much more, but I find you. I have God, so many words. There's so much I'd like to say to you that what I would tell you is this. Yes, I can connect directly with them. I could tell you what they're saying right now if you choose to. I know you can as well.
I'm interested in perspective because, as I said before, I'm having this existential set of epiphanies, and I'm putting words together because I'm trying to define something that's undefinable right now.
Yeah,
I'm seeing it happening in the Akashic record, and it's not the resonant wave, it's not galactic X, it's not any of that other crap. Okay, it's just strictly something that's going on in the fabric of the whole universe.
The cosmic mirror. I know I'm experiencing the same thing. This is what's happening for me right now, right here, is that I'm experiencing, which I told JayPee and Jessica earlier, which I can't put into words because it doesn't fit into any kind of reality that I personally know of, which is a spiritual flame. This is a flame which is so nourishing and so powerful. It's such energy. But I don't know how to describe it. But yet at the same time, it needs to be said. And I do feel like I want to connect people with our spiritual brothers, with our connection to the reality that we currently exist in, which includes our brothers and sisters that aren't aren't from here.
Oh, yeah.
You do such a beautiful job. I'm amazed when you talk to people and start tuning into their deep, dark stuff. I'm almost afraid to ask you what you see in me, but I'm courageous enough to say, okay, do it anyway.
Yes, do it.
Just give me a second here. Hold on. All right, we'll do a little quid pro quo. I'll do something for you, and then I'll try to read. I'll have you talk to the Pleiadians, and then I'll try to read one of them. I haven't been able to do that. That's something fun I get to do when I read people channeling other beings, and I get to read what Akashic Records is.
I can talk to him directly. I actually talked to. By the way, earlier on the show, I was talking to David Bowie directly, and I can tune into John Lennon very easily right here, right now. You want to hear what he says? I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Very easy. And he wants to. They want to.
Yeah. What is he saying?
Oh, it's just beauty. First of all, David Bowie and John Lennon, different but similar energies, the same time period. John is much more spiritual master. David is much more of he likes to party and be friends. He's not quite so much the warrior that John was.
Okay. All right, so I've tuned into you. All right, so
okay.
I'll walk you backwards.
Bend over and spread them.
Nah. I'm just gonna walk it backwards, and I'll just do it from the stream source. So, last lifetime you led before you were in this physical body. Looks like you passed on in Southeast Asia, 1951. You were a woman. You had 11 children. A couple died in the war.
Sounds like why I have so much sadness. A loss of children.
No. This was the end of a series of spiritual contracts which got you out of your indebtedness to being a woman for all the life you had taken in previous iterations where you were a dick. We all have those times.
I was a warrior. I know that.
Hey, I had mine too. So this ended that process, and this process was a 700-year process.
Yeah, I paid my karma. Right.
Well, no, you were paying it forward. You did much more than you had to do. You got caught up like everyone else. No big deal.
Like me.
So 700 years back, you would have been in Quetzalcoatl, somewhere in the Maya lands. And it would have been at one of the times of the sacrificing. So you would have been the sacrificee for many years in a row, and that's what began your retribution cycle for the energies that you had done in the previous cycle, which would have been 235,000 years to about 7,000, 8,000 years. So 7,000 to 8,000, savagery, loss of technology, loss of density, communication to off-world species, beginning of DNA lineage. This is your beginning of your reprogramming, and then you're jumping from divinity path from 2,700,000 years ago into the being you are now. So you're time traveling from 2,700,000 years into 7,800 BC and going into a lineage that has been waiting 2 million years for you to come and live in it. Interesting. Long-term plan. We jump to 51 million years ago. Original, you're like from the Andromedan galaxy, part of the elephantine species, the one that's represented in the Hindu arts. Very blue-skinned. In their original elephantine form, they're psychic librarians. They can create a masterpiece of collective works of psychic information bound within a single point in reality, and then that pinpoint of reality is a 0 point for whatever information they want to encode into that 0 point, and they have like their own Dewey Decimal System, like their elephantine mind, of how to access that. And their technology was what was incorporated into our DNA skin suit right around 1622, about 31 million years ago. So 31 million years ago would have been your first immigration to Earth. And let's see, first immigration to Earth as the elephantine species gathered in the Pleidian. All right, so now it makes sense. So part of your elephantine process, psychic information, was used by the Pleiadian people to encode information into light bodies so that light vessel ships could enter the galactic ascension machine, which is this particular solar system, undetected by the false light technology was there, and then they could bring coded information inside the DNA itself to update whatever resistance organizations were working on diffusing the glass factories. All right. That makes sense?
Yes, it does. It resonates on so many levels. I remember things, I remember stuff before now. I'm just, I don't pretend to be anything that I'm not. I'm just trying to understand. But when you tell me these things, your voice resonates, and I heard these levels, and I can see these pictures, and so many times before. Definitely, I had a lot to do with technology and places before now.
Oh yeah. I mean, I just gave you a quick synopsis, and I was going from the beginning of your immigration to here to Earth and figure out how you were entangled in the Time Wars, and it's all technology. It's all.
I remember coming here.
Oh yeah.
JayPee, are you still there?
Yes.
I don't know if you were listening, but some of the stuff that was mentioned sounds very much like Andronicus.
It does, doesn't it?
Came from the Andromedan area, and then it talks about technology. I mean, it might be generic, but for some reason it started ringing true to me.
Listen, you guys.
Keith, I'd like to see a picture of you.
Keith and Andy, Jess and I have been doing this series. She started receiving these messages just about 8 months ago, and she asked me, could you read it? Just read out the message in my voice, because she's talking to a male thing. Anyway, so we started this, and we thought it was just a one-off, but it just kept coming, and there was more and more and more. And we've made now 34 two-hour shows, and it's not just this one person, but these other people. I say people, beings. That I've got it on my YouTube channel. It's if you go to Studio 9 Jam on YouTube.
Just send me a link.
I'll send you the link, and there's the Andronicus transmissions. It is just astounding. But Jess, is Andronicus around? Can we bring him into this conversation, or is Rodan?
Short answer is yes.
Yeah.
So Jessica.
Yeah. Yes.
So Andronicus, is there another surname to that?
He may have been the character called Zeus.
I get a yes on that.
Yes.
Okay. There's. All right. This is unique.
Yes, he's talking now. Jessica, what is he saying?
Well, no, I want to hear what Andrew has to say.
Well, we are in a unique moment of time and space where the filters are very thin, at a moment when the lights are going out all throughout the universe, and we get a moment to connect light that hasn't been connected in 57 million years.
Right.
So I would really like to be able to take this moment and make it sacred, to make sure that everyone is protected here on all ends of the spectrum, that all of us can, for one single moment, function with the dream mind of the earth that's trying to bring us all together in a very thin part of the reality known as the internet.
I'm up for that. You have my consent.
Yes. You have my consent.
We lost Keith. Let me let him come back on. Irony.
He's been in and out all evening. Floating away and floating in and out.
That's just the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm so sorry.
All right, did you get any of that, Keith?
It's fine. Luckily, it doesn't happen when my show is on normally.
Good. So, Andrew was just requesting that we take this as a very sacred space, and I'm just giving the space over to Andrew right now. So, to bring this through.
What I'd like to do is simply ask that all of our guides and guardian spirits come into a grand circle of union and communion, and project light into the dense areas that are around all of us, and that the dense areas of darkness be exposed to light, so the true source of the light frequencies from all these different frequencies of time, of Keith, of JayPee, Jessica, and Andrew, and all the other individuated beings that are part of the compartmentalized collective, to come to an understanding. We're not speaking in time, even though it's 11:13 West Coast time here. We are speaking in no time. All right.
Blessings.
Yes. So I got a question for your Pleidian perspective. Your person that you communicate with. Our sun is going through some really unique sets of changes, and the people on this world have no clue about the sun process. What is it they can do to assist this I am presence that's asking the question?
All right. I can communicate directly as you can as well, Andrew.
I'm individuating whether I'm speaking as a collective or as my individual self.
No, but I know that you can talk to the sun yourself, as you can, and JayPee as well. But I will, because I love the sun. I do connect and talk directly. All right, so he's angry. This is the first thing I'm getting. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff happening. Okay, so there's a lot of other influences. All right, I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. I'm not trying to evaluate it or give you any judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of other influences, a lot of other non-human, stuff going on. It looks like to me that he's actually very peaceful. He's very cool, and this is not bothering him that much. But we're going to see some kind of flares. I don't know how to explain it. Okay, he's asking you any direct questions. He's telling you he loves you. By the way, I think you can feel this, Andrew. Do you feel his love right now, right here?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So he's communicating with you, so you can probably answer it more quickly than I can.
Okay. Jessica?
Yes.
Is the other guy there?
I'm not seeing the other guy. I'm seeing another character called Rodan who comes through, and supposedly he's a son of Shiva.
Okay. I'm just speaking to like 20,000 voices at once right now.
I can imagine that. That's what I go. Not that many, but I usually have a bunch of them.
So they had us all
talking directly to Dark Party, aren't you?
Who?
Are you talking to a Dark Sun?
No. Though what you may be sensing is one of the 20,000 Akashic worlds that I'm connected to has an expression of a dark sun that already went out of existence in the planetary ascension itself before the dark sun supernovaed and became a light sun again, uploaded all its information into a DNA lineage that has made its way here to Earth. Everything is here in the now, and they had us meet for some reason, and something's going on right now. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like they're exchanging files. Here's your lost couch from 28 million years ago.
Yes.
Is one of the jokes.
That's what I saw. There was a shuffling. There was things going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's happening in real time on the planet now.
Yeah, it's like quite literally. It's like celestial beings that may have been lovers millions of years ago are giving each other shit back.
Yeah.
Here's that bloody ABBA album of yours.
Exactly. You nagged me about it for 82 million years. Here it is.
I have to say, with all this talk about planet Nibiru and all this stuff, when I looked at it, I don't see it being a problem.
Nope.
I really don't see
No, I don't either.
an issue there.
We are in the process of nothing's going to happen mode, because that's the most effective way to destroy the system.
Thank you. This is
No one gets
exactly what
you.
I've been saying on the air. All these predictions of doom and gloom, I'm telling you, we can make it nice if we want.
Yes, we can.
And we don't got a dark planet that's going to destroy us. That's just my perspective. I may be wrong. I'm not pretending I know anything. But from what I can see from here, not the case.
So, Jessica, how did your experiences begin?
Well, I also connect into the Akashic Records when I was probably in my late 30s, or I was walking down the street in broad daylight and I could see a clear movie screen in front of me and saw a past life where I was getting murdered. Found myself crying and not understanding what was going on, thought I was losing my mind. And it wasn't until years later that I recognized that I was, because I was constantly seeing visions, and recognized I was accessing the Akashic Records. Now, regarding these particular characters or individuals that were coming to me, it started off with a regression that I did for this woman, and something opened up where I began to see very far back in time, where this individual by the name of Andronicus was seated in what looked like a contained room, where it was primarily white space. And he also had very white skin and dark eyes, and his head was bald, and I could see numbers floating around his head as if he was emitting his knowledge or quantifying or calculating out loud, and seated in a lotus position on the ground. And then what he was communicating to me, which felt very far back in time, was that he was a prisoner by the reptilian species, and he was an Andromedan, and that they had taken over his planet, and he was looking for an access out. And somehow, at that time space, we connected, and he has been speaking to me ever since, and has introduced me to others that were part of his journey, which included Titans, and also these lizard beings, which he called the Sleetaran. There's these other the reptilians he called the Vinkala, and he's giving me the names. He's telling me all these things, and eventually I end up talking to Rodan, who is supposed to be the son of Shiva, and they said that Shiva, they were in Vega, the planet Vega at the time, and they were. So Rodan said he remembers the whole story, so he fills in different pieces that Andronicus doesn't remember, because Andronicus goes into hypersleep or hibernation, and Rodan seems to be more aware of the whole thing. So okay. I'm just conveying to you what, there's even more, but I can't go into all the details, but others have just come forward and said things.
So this all stemmed from that one moment?
Yes. At that one moment, somehow time-space opened. And, I've always been open anyhow, and I've had when I was a very young child, I had a lucid dream, or maybe it was a reality, where I was standing outside of my house, and in the middle of the night, probably around 6 years old or so, looking up and seeing a spacecraft over my house.
Okay.
So there's been a series of things that have happened, throughout my life, but the direct connection to Andronicus occurred this summer when I did a hypnosis session with an attempt to do a past life regression that evolved into this instead.
Okay. Is Rodan there now?
Yes, he's watching over me right now.
All right. So I have a question for him. You said Andronicus was from Andromeda, and he was stuck here, and he knows another part of the story. Does he know about the timeline fallout shelters, in which where beings can go and store their light, and it can come out and be protected at a future time?
Does Rodan know that?
Do either of them know that?
Rodan says he's aware of everything.
Because he's floating within 0 point time. Okay. So then he's already been through the timeline fallout shelters. I'm trying to put the pieces and puzzles together myself.
He's not a part of that. He doesn't exist in those planes, he's saying.
Never existed or does not exist there anymore?
He does not exist in those planes. He said he cannot be observed from the perspective that you're observing.
Okay, so he's an unentangled observer using unentangled observer technology. Now I understand.
That's correct.
Yeah. I've spoken a lot about them, the unentangled observers.
So Andronicus, however, has gone in and out of that space. He's gone in and then he's come out, similar to Rodan, at moments, but not as continuous. And so the flow of Rodan has been the full observer over longer spans of time. And he also refers to himself as Osiris. Is another...
In fact, a lot of the godheads who have the O sound in them, Osiris and Odin. Rodan is very connected,
Prometheus.
Well, there's another story. The whole...
He's saying to me, Andrew, what would you like to know? And he's probably going to try to channel it through my simple mind.
As part of my existential epiphany that I'm going at, since I have this opportunity, I guess it's the perspective of what I'm projecting and how the unentangled observers see it. Because it's not often that I get to speak to an audience outside of it that it's not admitting it's being an audience. I mean, we are challenging the rules of reality, and if he's willing to do that, I want to know how my perspective and presentation has added light to this process.
He said, "Do you not remember who you are?" He said, "You are a flicker of a flame within my hand, my right hand."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Your light does burn like a burning ember and shines bright across the lands and through every corner of darkness and in every species. That you are my messenger. You were seated with me as a friend, and you were called forth at this time to speak forth the truth of what you know, despite the naysayers and those that are not in agreement with the challenges and the changes that lie ahead. I'll always be with you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Despite my orientation and the location of where I stay, it doesn't mean that I'm very far from you. At all times my hand is upon you, and you will always be protected. be bold in what you have to say, and the conveyance of your knowledge will be transmitted and transposed and utilized to the betterment of humanity, in addition to the other adjoining species, such as the Pleiades that are here to witness this event as we speak. The Lyran also being represented through JayPee. At this moment in time, we are having a conversation. We are in a council of agreement.
This council of agreement is many species in a collective consciousness.
It's a harmonious event where we have finally got past the long lines of entanglement with disagreements and discord, as you had witnessed the returning of things that were not supposed to be in opposite time-space.
That makes a lot of sense. So what's to come of time itself? Roman numeral time, that is.
To be a continuation but a stretching of time in an aspect that's not comprehensible to humanity, but I will reveal this to you so that you can present a form of calculation and withdrawal from the former system, because of the way, the length and the breadth of things, almost elliptical, and the orientation is less rotund and stretched and curved. He's trying to convey the words. I'm sorry.
I understand it, actually. Keep going.
It's within the box, and the box within the box, and the beyond that is an opening. And there within we do find the minutest particle where time is set. And all it is a glance and recognition. And then time is altered, and the box opens to another box, to another, spiraling out, like the Fibonacci.
And then this begets, like this is the creation point where the 18th universe takes in its first immigrants?
That's correct.
Wow. Wow. That puts together all the pieces of the puzzle. So we're going to have trillions and trillions of beings exit our universe, and we are going to take the place of the beings that are leaving in responsibility to keep the universe in universal synchronicity by living lives, in balance, living lives, exploring the universe, doing no harm to any sentient kind when you are in knowledge of it.
It's the cosmic pendulum.
Yes, inevitably it swings to the other side. So there's going to be another immigration from another universe here too then.
We're distraught about the immigration because of the lack of synchronicity and their inappropriate time warping scheme, which allowed them to enter into the field prior to the conducted time of agreement. The species of the human race is not adequately prepared to encounter this other species, and there will be an imbalance and discord because of the levels of evolution that the more recent species that is entering into the space has knowledge of, whereby the human race will then encounter a feeling of inferiority, as displayed in Planet of the Apes, where there is a lack of surety and a halting of the human evolution. So we are trying to interrupt and interfere with the species that has tried to just interfere with the rules and guidelines of direction. And so there is an actual visitation of some of the greatest and most wondrous beings of harmonious intention that are coming to support and protect the human species, as well as even the Pleiades and Lyrans, who are still quite vulnerable at this phase and are not prepared to encounter this much more aggressive and dominant species that's about to enter.
So part of my existential epiphany is realizing that I'm a medium between sun, plant, and celestial bodies and galactic central suns, and that I'm to be a mediator between these different perspectives. And so much has been shown to me in the last years to months that I have my next question is the me of the now moving into the me of the future, being this galactic medium or universal medium. What else is there that I can do that I've maybe not researched enough or gone into myself about?
Andrew, the part of your beingness is welcomed by many. The accuracy of your tone is preventing the volatile reactions of some certain species that could not tolerate many of those that do not understand. And so it's crucial that at this time that you continue to do as you have. And also to align with whatever you may encounter going forward, but also keep in mind that you go way back. All are familiar with you. There is nothing that you have not been exposed to, and though in your mind some of this information is new, it is quite recognizable. The species that is to come you had encountered long ago. You are one of the few that are prepared for this encounter. We are working diligently to create another field that will disrupt and divert them into another or a bilocation. In the process of doing so, if they perhaps may speak to you in unknown or familiar tongue, open up your heart and have no fear. They do recognize you. As I said, you are one of the few that recognize them and shall not have much of a problem. It is the majority of the human race that we are concerned that they are not prepared for this encounter yet.
They don't have it. They don't have it in their DNA memories yet.
Not quite yet.
It's there, but it's just still fading and then etching out of reality. Thank you very much. This brings up so much confirmation for me.
You're doing a wonderful job, and so are the others. You are here to support one another. Despite any type of minor disagreements, allow none of that to interfere with this crucial time. It would be a wondrous time for all of you to be in the stream of communication of the most ancient and wondrous beings that have existed in all time. As it is for the human race, is the future of something much more interesting than has been in the past.
It's the gathering of the ancients and the heraldry in of the new universe, and the great immigration to and from these places.
Many have tried to close the doors. We insist that the doors remain open, so the past can greet the future, and the future can greet the past.
And it's the I Am Presence that is the technology that allows us to observe the past and the future meeting.
That's correct.
At that moment, we become all of the past, present, and future simultaneous, and time will be irrelevant at that moment.
Time will be relevant in many moments, all at once.
Well put. Time will be relevant because you'll be in all points of time simultaneously.
Very good.
Yeah.
You're remembering.
Oh yeah, I've had these been going on for a very long time, and it has been the process of having no peer in the world that doesn't get it. I mean, there's so much more I want to say that I've been able to say in English, but it's gibberish to people that don't have clear frequencies or don't have their own clarity. And then, the endless communications to the mind. The ephemeral communications that such we have now at this unique moment in space-time, we're able to communicate to this way, an unentangled observer. I mean, for me, you may not exactly realize what that means to me. To me, it's gigantic, because I've talked about unentangled observers, and people began to get that you can be entangled and unentangled. And then the unentangled observers, such as you on the other side, also understand you're everywhere because you've decided to be a part of the fabric of reality itself. Whole different state of existence.
I have set people around you as your peers to help support you, to help you to feel like you're not alone. Each and every one has had the same feeling, the feeling of separateness. None of us are separated from one another. Even I, though I'm unentangled, as you perceive it, am very much molecularly attached to you, connected, and observing you.
Yes, you're in the very fabric. Yes, you're in the very fabric of reality, in every breath, in every little bubble in space. I get it, and I know that we're not alone. But it's the individual expression that is beginning to see the bigger scale, where the individual has a different purpose, and it's very different from the purpose of the individual that our cultures have been brought up on. Becoming part of the collective, flawlessly, seamlessly, in non-competition with it. That's where I find myself in these last few days. not using the words giving into the collective, but loving myself enough to be a part of it. Loving everything that's around me and understanding that that's the spiritual muscle that brings this whole machine of love together.
It is love, Andrew. It is love, the most powerful force that exists. And yet we stray from it at moments, but always return back to it again. Acknowledge that we are not separate, and you will feel less alone. Acknowledge that your existence is continuous. It has no beginning and end, as in all humanity, in all species, in a never-ending loop of existence, but yet moving through fields of time and space. One might wonder why that is. Why humanity must go through the experience that it does. The many questions that you have, that Keith has, that JayPee has, all have a purpose. All will be answered. It is time for my departure now. I must attend to other things.
Thank you very much. I am honored to have heard you, listened to you, acknowledged you, and take your message very seriously. Thank you very much.
As the particles of breath recognize me by you each and every day to keep you strong and bold and continue on with your work. And for you also, Keith, speak always from your heart and in love and in truth. And for you, JayPee, remember love is always around you. You are loved more than you can feel. Allow that love to come through and receive it. I must go now.
Thank you. Bless you, Rodan.
Thank you.
So there's Rodan. It's the first time I've heard, been direct, because normally it's just a reading of an account.
Yeah.
I was in tears many times.
Yeah, I'd be there in tears too.
Oh, wow. How are you feeling, Jess?
I feel great. It's just like I was feeling like I could see him in form. He showed me what he looks like. And then as he was talking to you, Andrew, it was like I could see this long line, like timeline. And then he was on the outside of it to the right. And then you said something to it, and then he turned himself into particles and surrounded everything inside the timeline, all out around it.
Interesting.
It was amazing. And he was like holding his right hand, and it was like you were seated in his right hand. I don't think he was implying that you were, like, I was thinking, is this Jesus Christ? Or I don't know what he was saying, but it felt like, we go through our whole religious beliefs, and all I know is he said it like that, and I also felt like he cradles each and every one of us in that way. Especially, I think he was sensing that maybe this was designed, this communication for all of us.
Oh, it was absolutely 100% designed.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
We needed it, I think. We're at a crossroad of some sort.
Oh, they've changed the reality in the last 10 days.
I saw it last night. I was watching Shiva. Shiva actually came down and was in India. And I usually see him in a sacred space. Mm-hmm. And another individual was Khalib was there with him, which is one of his sons. And then and I saw Rodan, and and then there was a new brother that showed up, who was over in Thailand, and they called his name Jakar or something like that. And the whole planet looked like they were all moving and going into different places. And I didn't understand. And everyone's watching the Grammys last night, and they put me into a deep meditation, and I'm like, what in the world is going on here? I knew there was something happening. There was a major change happening on the planet. But I don't really know what it is.
I'm going to liken it as there has been a beard around us, and the beard has been shaved off.
How very interesting, because that's exactly what I did this about 3 hours ago. I've shaved off quite a lot of my beard. I'm not fucking kidding.
No.
All right, so what does that mean, Andrew?
You ever had your hair cut real short after it's been real long, and that feeling that you're missing something?
Yeah.
That's what's been happening to the reality. There's stuff that, you expected the beard to always catch the mustard when you bite into something. There's always been this filter, and I call it the beard. It's all around all of us.
Okay.
And it's been shaved off. Bzz.
And how will that affect us?
The beard is how we share reality rules based off of placebo belief energy. And placebo belief energy has the power of myth behind it too. This is how many of these extra-dimensional beings exist. The shave means the extra-dimensional beings don't have that extra bonus of myth power anymore. People can still believe in them and give them placebo energy, but they won't get the double bonus.
Okay.
That's a huge removal of power. And then that means people must deal with this new power now. They have it given back to them, and they can give away their power again if they choose. And this is the cycle that Rodan was speaking about, as well as what all of the other conversation that's going on in this infinite exchange right now.
Interesting.
I mean, I spent a long time understanding the processes of the collective and the uncollective consciousness. And I've had many of my own conversations with my own expressions similar to what you have, or to celestial minds, or to galactic minds, or to universal minds, depending on what form of the records I've been reading, and the level of specialness that they've tried to explain to me of what I was. It was very hard for me to take it in for a very, very long time. And it was when you were saying he was holding me in the hand, and it was a reminder that what I was doing was very special for this individual moment in time. Mm-hmm. But I had prepared myself for this a long time ago. And I knew that when I decided to go public, that I was manifesting something else that's not in competition with me, but has been planning something for a long time. And that by allowing synchronicities to flow, to stay happy, to stay present, to keep sourcing my own happiness, this has moved to a new level now where they're asking Andrew to step aside, quite literally, step aside and let us occupy all of the media. Simple as that. Mm-hmm. So I've had these conversations, and then I see you doing what you're doing, and I've seen other people do what they do, and I've always put myself as the here and the now, as this individuated being. And this existential epiphany that I'm having is quite literally about what is my part in this? Because I do have an equal part in this co-creation. It's not just holding the body and doing what it is that I'm doing. It is the way I talk to people. It is the interactions that people have when they meet you physically or they hear you on a show, and it connects to them deeply. You know, there's a great separation of the words also, even though I know I'm all part of Source and never separated, but it's coming to a time where what's being, obviously it's coming to our world, and what's being asked of me is gigantic. Gigantic. And there are certain frequencies the I am cannot take. It's not its purpose to do that. And that is where Source steps in and creates its luminaries. It's people that glow light. Just like in the Bible picture, where they had the big glow around them, it's because they glowed light and people could psychically impress and understand it. Right now, mine's manifesting through the voice and through the video that I do too, and then the physical touch when you're around people too. But it's coming to a new level now where there is so much more light coming out of every word.
I agree with that. It seems to be magnified now.
Yeah. And then trying to run a business at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Like meetings in time. You don't have time right now to talk to the infinite source. Hint, hint.
Yeah. Oh, they just show up whenever, right? Middle of the night.
Someone's been opening my watch.
Someone's been opening up my bedroom door. I wake up in the morning. It's like, who opened the door? No one's even there. It's really, you know.
You're opening the door.
Oh, I'm getting out and leaving and coming back?
Yeah, journeying back. And you're coming back more and more with dense light in your dreaming body, which is a way for them to transfer energy to you. At some point in time, you had a blockage in your tailbone, but not in this physical lifetime. It was from injuries in thousands of other lifetimes. And this was a design of the system to limit beings such as you who could, let's just call be these massive grounding rods and antennas. And you could essentially create your own psychic radio network by connecting to the North Pole of this planet and then broadcasting at a sun on a psychic frequency, with the celestial power of psychic energy behind you. And other celestial planets have their version of the Marconi radio that can tune into that psychic frequency. And that would be the specific heart frequency that you are presenting to create the space so Rodan or any of the others want to come through and manifest through your frequency.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it feels like. It feels like I have a network.
Yeah,
but it goes out far. Yeah.
Think of it like a radio simulcast show. You know, like what Coast to Coast AM does. People, planets sign up to be an affiliate. Mm-hmm. And then after a while, they get to communicate back to you as one collective, everything that's in your network. And I believe that is what Rodan is, the functioning residual image of all of those beings simultaneously putting together a single point of reference that you, Jessica, can deal with. So it's a collective consciousness creation. And I've done a tremendous amount of work with those things.
And so, and then they're coming out as different personalities or personas.
Because there are many different parts and personas to them. They're individuated, compartmentalized, and non-compartmentalized at the same time.
Okay. So how far back am I going? Do you recognize? I can't quantify it.
When you mean how far back you're going? What do you mean? The individual I am you, that or what was communicating through you?
Well, you said that I'm leaving and then re-entering the room in the morning.
Oh, you're going into your dreaming body, and your dreaming body duplicates itself, gets out of the bed, and goes off and does its dreaming stuff. And when it's coming back, it has a lot more energy to it. And that means your dreaming body's creating density, and that density can actually open and close doors.
Okay. So then my communication.
Well, no, in your dream, think of it. You go to sleep, you get into a dream, but your dreaming body is in your intestinal tract. And then it takes a while for it to come out of your navel and your sacrum to create energy so that a flower can be born, and then the ephemeral dreaming body begins to take light form shape in the physical reality and then fades out of the physical reality into the unseen world. And as it's doing that, it creates a portal to wherever it wants to dream to. Generally, it's the North Pole if you're dealing with ancestral issues, and it's the South Pole if you're dealing with astral issues in general. And so if you're in the South Pole, or the South Pole version of the Aurora Borealis, is where you'd be dealing with unentangled observers such as Rhodan, but they would be in all emission. They are observing every frequency because they are also an akashic observer using a specialized form of spiritual technology called unentangled observer technology. It's what allows them to observe and audit what is actually going on against the universal laws here, and to not make judgment about it, but to limit its presence by doing no harm to the other presence at the same time, so that our reality rules don't cross over and the powers of our own beliefs make fake myths. Because we are about to go out into the rest of the universe and begin to repopulate it, quite literally.
Yeah.
And each and every one of us in this world is going to have to do their part. And those that can't do their part are still afraid. Earth will take them into the dream world, and they'll come out when they're ready. They'll go into their psychic slumber. I call it the separation of densities. Those that are ready to be responsible for their light, and those that are still needing themselves to be nurtured by others until they're ready to nurture themselves.
Mm-hmm. I understand that.
I mean, I'm at the precipice of choice for myself. You know, do I do the all in on another form of communication or not?
It's been an interesting journey. I'll say that, and I'm grateful for JayPee because he has allowed me to share this with people so they can kind of experience what's going on. But I feel like even though beyond the story, there's other things happening, and people are recognizing certain things.
Like what? What? Something that I ask. Whenever I do a radio show and I have people come on and they're asking for a session or a reading or whatever it is, I ask them how they found out about me. So what is it that people are coming to you about? What is it?
I'm not quite sure. They seem to be intrigued. It seems to have a storyline that somewhat feels familiar.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure. JayPee, how would you explain that? I mean, why do you think people are listening?
Don't know. There's some kind of funnel that is happening, and I believe that people are being directed to us. It started out, I started putting these things on YouTube, and I realized that after a couple of weeks, I had more people watching the YouTube thing than downloading the archive from the site, or even listening to it live. And we've got about like 300 listeners who like regularly download it whenever it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a small phenomenon, and it's interesting because we had a lady called Elizabeth Joyce on a couple of years ago, and this is like just as I took over the station from Dave. And Jessica, I didn't know Jessica because she was in the week and I was just doing the Sundays, and suddenly I had everybody. So I started having, producing Jessica, and one day there was this lady called Elizabeth Joyce, who's a very, very keen but strongly. She's a bit nippy. Let's put it that way. It's a bit edgy when she talks. Reminds me of my girlfriend. Anyway, she said something very interesting because she looked at our combined charts and said, looks like you two are destined to work together because of the way these planets are kind of conjunct in our charts, that we're destined to work together and build a network. And lo and behold, without our even thinking about that, because I only came back to that reading like a few weeks ago, and I thought, holy crap, that's exactly what she said would happen. So there is a definite thing about this. There's a definite thing about this moment. I had to be particularly prepared for it, I think. Anchored. I feel anchored today. I've had a very anchoring day, let's put it that way. So...
It's cathartic.
It is.
I just, it's like if I don't do this, I don't know where to put the information. There's been incidences where we actually brought in a shaman, Walt Silva, and similar to you, Andrew, Walt, wanted to observe and understand a little bit about Andronicus and or Rodan, but in this case, he was looking for Andronicus, and he wrote something and I wrote something, and we read what I wrote first, and I talked about a point where Andronicus and Rodan were in a disagreement, and Andronicus got into like a place where, like a control room. Mm-hmm. And when Walt read what he saw, it was a control room as well. Now, neither one of us communicated together. So it's incidences like that kept coming up, where, JayPee would ask a question in the beginning, and he would just be talking, and then we'd read the transmission and the answer would be in it. So he wouldn't read the transmission prior to it, but it would just be on his mind at that moment, and he'd talk about it, and then there's the answer. So it's been a lot of that kind of
I call those source chess moves.
Yeah. Interesting, like that.
Multi-dimensional chess that is there to benefit us.
Yeah.
That's synchronicities coming together. I experience that myself quite often.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. So, like I said, it feels like this was the time for all of us to speak and to kind of be present. And I'm enjoying this because I feel like, that it's at these moments that I don't feel different.
I understand that.
Part of the new normal.
Yes.
So when you say control room, JayPee, do you remember me talking about control rooms?
I'm not sure if I do remember, but because you say so much, Andrew, and it's like my little head was too small for all those things that you said. But I've got them all recorded somewhere, and I should play them again.
St. Petersburg, the big continent, Australia, the moving continent, the control rooms, 40 control rooms spread throughout the world, and it requires all individual DNA signatures to access those control rooms. And without all the DNA signatures, we don't have an awakening, because that's what actually triggered the galactic ascension machine to turn off, which is essentially what's happening right now.
So the control rooms are part of the galactic ascension machine?
Yes, those are the things that says that all the DNA light frequencies have been reassembled outside of time that got intermixed when they weren't supposed to.
Ah,
yeah,
right.
I see that. I know what you're talking about.
Andrew? Mm-hmm. Time frame sequencer.
Okay.
Is that a technology? Have you heard of that technology?
Yes. Now, this is Lemurian, strictly Lemurian, and done with Lemurian crystals that were seeded back into the ground, and they were able to make a duplicate of the crystal that was seeded back into the ground, and then they could travel through time, and then that's how they used to sequence what frequencies of times they wanted to go through, so that they could bring larger vessels, Lemurian air cities, which were very, very they're airy type energies, so they're ephemeral. You can touch them, but if you put a lot of pressure, you'll go through them. So they would teleport through time, and then they would use these crystal points in the time sequencers so that they could transfer 2 billion people from one point in time to another. Because if you got out of sequence, you were fucked. And then they made the timeline fallout shelters for people that got fucked. You can go to these timelines.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. This is so cool.
And then this is where you became access to void space, and where it became that there's an Akashic records for even void spaces. And I've identified like 85 different void null spaces that don't frequency time and don't frequency universal source energy, but they still frequency an Akashic record.
Wow.
Try to figure that shit out for
Yeah, because things exist. I think it almost feels like they started to build stuff, and then they abandoned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They built it in a null space, and then started like Lego blocks, building it in reverse.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because there's always an alternate space.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, how else are you going to stop all these other time-traveling beings from predicting what you're going to do? Your source. You're supposed to be unpredictable.
And that's exactly what it is. Well, I mean, he just dispersed right in front of me. He just became nothing but particles.
Yeah. Identifying with source.
Yeah. And so he's everywhere right now.
Yeah.
And it's almost like it kind of blew my mind, because it looked like he was in every aspect of air, every aspect of everything.
Yes, quite literally. I've experienced the same character with a different name. Remember, it's a collective consciousness of everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's connecting to you via residual image, because you've known it at some other frequency of time. Even though we're still a race with amnesia, some of the empathic energy comes through. That's what I call residual image. Your frequency, somehow, some way, no matter what skin you are, if you're an insect or a human or a Pleidian, somehow your energy comes through and connects empathically to the observing being.
Can I ask what you would call this similar collective?
Source.
You call it source.
Yeah. Source comes in every form. And source is a collective and an uncollective at the same time, trying to figure itself out. You just have to figure out what parts of the compartment you're working with. Even though it's uncompartmentalized as source, it's just giving you the reflective perspective that we need to have as I am presences, so that we can work back and forth with the energy. If there's no residual image to it, it is not really happening.
Interesting.
And then there are collective consciousness creations, which are things that can be a 0-point frequency in time, on all frequencies of time, kind of like marker stones on the markers on the highway, mile 48, mile 49, mile 50, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And then they can take on other aspects. Collective consciousness creations can work with an entire DNA lineage, which could be millions of people. And it can be the guardian being to them, or the one that works with what babies are going to be born into their lineage, so that the right souls find the right path to the right planet.
Yeah, when I've worked with people in clearing ancestral stuff, I noticed that it will go so far, and then there's those other layers where it goes beyond the human sphere. Yeah.
And oftentimes we bring in non-human affairs here, and that's what really went wrong about 11 million years ago. Drama that wasn't of Earth was installed here as Earth truth drama. And then extra time linear beings, non-linear time beings came in, thus what you were talking about with Rodan, an extra universal source that said we're immigrating early. Stop us.
Now, you don't think... I got the impression they were talking about someone else.
Yeah,
I mean,
someone else. Yeah, totally someone else that is trying to integrate into time right now.
Right. Well, in our human experience, I was almost seeing them. I couldn't see them quite yet, but.
Well, the thing is, I've experienced them too many times.
But they're too evolved for the human race right now. They're too evolved.
Exactly, they're too evolved.
And they'll make the humans feel stupid and not
but they
thrive.
don't see that. They don't see that because there's a desperation in them that they've been hiding, and that desperation is that their species will not be able to continue without the dumb humans.
Said,
yes, and I use that word because there's
I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool?
An understanding that this DNA, without this frequency of DNA, before we change galactic planes, their species will not be a part of the natural incarnation rules. That means soul families will not be able to incarnate in their bodies because they'll have to use some form of technological regeneration of bodies.
Rather strange answers for the universe.
That means essentially the sex organs become useless and you lose connection to the Kundalini. That means you become a free roaming galactic citizen without a planet until you can regain those frequencies. And they need us to sexually recharge them, to teach them how to have children,
which is for
how to have swollen feet, how to live in the now.
Yourself. That's Prometheus' jobs that have been sent into different places. Is to bring all of these together.
It is.
Well, I mean, it's not the manual making of children. No, that will be the expression.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's apparently Prometheus got around a bit.
Yeah, he did. He lit a lot of fires.
On lots of levels, yeah. So. Yes. Oh, this is absolutely. Oh, it's so good to talk to you, Andy. It's really, really good to talk to you again. It's been quite I've definitely kind of expanded since we were first having our conversations. You know, lots of stuff has been tidied away and swept off and broken off, burnt off, lasered off, tasered off. You know, beaten the crap off, all that sort of stuff. But you know, that's my drama. And so at this point, we lost the call. Various interruptions occurred. Andrew eventually said, look, would you read this for us? And I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool to have a little kind of little drum beat, little shamanic drum beat at the back of it, and a few monks chanting maybe. So I knocked together a little thing on my music making. I read Andrew's text to it, and so that will follow. I'd like to thank you very much for today's rather strange answers for the universe. Jessica's been busy today, so but this is something we thought would be appropriate to present to you. So thank you very much for tuning in, and here is the latest of Andrew Bartzis' latest revocation document, which is for the express sovereign purpose of reconnecting yourself with your soul shards. That have been sent into different places. Is to bring all of these together. So you are able to become a galactic human. How useful. So enjoy this, and we'll see you next week. I, in the ever-present moment of now, choose to form a multi-layered spiritual court of equity for the express sovereign purpose of reconnecting me with soul shards who have been lost in time through the acts of others, disconnecting the social system of time from consciousness living on the surface Earth. All beings who have erased, altered, destroyed, or redefined our history with false intentions or perspective foreign to our race memory are hereby given notice. Your services are no longer required. From this point forward and backward through all perspectives of time, I break all contracts and subsequent prediction-based contracts. I enact the universal claim of tort. What is your authentic signature frequency of universal place of space-time your soul spark came into existence? You have violated me from the last moment of ever-present moments. You are hereby banned and banished from all of my realities in all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universes, and void space in which I exchange energy. I bind all acts against this I am presence to every spiritual court of equity I have ever created. I enact the universal requirement of your source time frequency. Without it, you have no experiences with me. You are not real. I do not exchange energy with beings who are not real. If at any point of the time matrix a form of consent was given, granted, or assumed by some hierarchical authority that this I am presence is not fully aware of, is now revoked with sacred neutral prejudice, so complete and total disentanglement from the universal drama, galactic drama, or earth drama. I make this a definitive statement for a reason. We cannot live in a solid point of reality that has no source function for the I am presence. The DNA technology was never meant to function in this manner. The process of gene engineering has created a paradox of self-incarnation in reincarnation that has created a separation of soul density that is not within the divine co-creative power of the self in equal co-creation with Earth Mother's realms that use other source time codes. With this knowledge in the ever-present co-creative moment, I connect to the Akashic records of 20,000 light-frequency worlds. I assemble all source time codes from all non-linear concurrently running spiritual courts of equity. I expand my knowingness to recognize all residual images of other soul family members outside this frequency of time. I now share with the all my call to all sources of sources. I call to my sacred space of internal healing. I call to the four elements of Earth Mother's realm: air, fire, earth, and water. I call to the seven directions that protect all sacred space of all unity consciousnesses and collective consciousnesses, creations existing in Earth Mother's realms. I call forth all unified collective consciousness creations with a source-identified authentic signature frequency of the universal place of space-time. The collective consciousness creation came into existence. I call forth all ancestors of true source relations to hold sacred, neutral space in this multidimensional spiritual court of equity. I call forth all observers using unentangled observer technology that manipulate in 1, 2, or 3 degrees of separation. I connect all of you to all identified collective consciousness creations, so you may be observed by your 7 future generations. I call to my sacred medicine spread. The healer's tools have been laid out in ceremonial fashion. We, the dreamers of the southern skies, call out to this moment of I am recognition of ancestors on the blue road of spirit, waiting for us to acknowledge their presence as an I am being in different form of time. I choose at this moment to engage my sacred heart space to connect to the dreamers of the southern skies. I unify my dreaming presence with my I am presence. I make this the super technology of communion and union with all sentient kind, living and coexisting in Earth's dreaming mind. With this now action of no time in dream space, I call forth the ancient future, now 7 generations of incarnations of myself and soul family, so this I am may begin to tell the tale of ancestors, past, present, and future. I am a being of love, created through love and with love. I continue to create this space of knowingness so all beings may seek and find inner peace and solace through dreaming. I set out the dreamer's tools in my sacred dream space. I set out the shaman's healing bowl. Engraved ancient sequoia wood with pictographs of the turtles and the stars. I set out the shaman's spirit rattle so the rhythm of dream is felt in all layers of the self. I set out the rites of passage, victory feathers. I set out the last part of what is future self calling home now. I speak to the crystal and mineral kingdom these words of unity. The time is now, and the power is you. In the moments of no time now, I go deep into my shaman's rattle, seeking the next words of life so two-legged perceive more of the dreaming world around them. I shake the rattle to send away the mind whispers telling us it's not real. I go deeper and deeper into the world of dreams, finding my dreaming self from a long time ago. I greet myself with this message to all ancestors. The time is now, and the I Am Presence is here to assist all of nature to find its remedy and resolve with all creatures. With all creature kind in the dream space of Earth realms. You, who is Mother Earth manifest, I call to you in dream time. I am self-presence. I ask you to aid me in understanding my star brothers and sisters who dream a different dream space, still linked to our dreaming space of spaces. Earth Mother, who is the galactic seed planet of ancient legends before the recording of universal Akashic records of sentient free will, I call to you to come out of ancient dream space to become one again with the will of your children, to heal the many worlds interacting with our I Am presences embroiled in the resolution of universal karma. I assemble all master time codices from multiple non-linear spiritual courts of equity and place them in this master location in hierarchical order to create a space of all time codes within the system. This space is my spiritual medium to all the other frames of sentient experience. This space of all time is where we become the mediums of time and begin the process of translation and of emanations of the past to future, calling ourselves home to the ancient present now. This ancient moment of present now is at hand. I see my infinite choices and potentials. Now I activate and actualize every single infinite point and potential. I manifest them directly in all time-space, so I may see every line of creation that leads to global dreamtime awakening for all species kind living and coexisting on Earth Mother's realms. Ancestors in all linear and non-linear concurrently running multidimensional spiritual courts of equity with all source time codes of all sentient, non-entangled observers as sacred neutral witness. I co-create my own value based in lifetime to lifetime experience with those who share my reality in sovereign, neutral expression of do no harm to all sentient life living and coexisting with this signature frequency of being. At this ever-present moment of moments, I say these sacred words to the all of the universe. I drop my old robes and accept my universal citizenship as source, concentrated, incarnate. This being of the now makes manifest my signature frequency of being. I call to the galactic central sun of this galaxy and all other galaxies I have existed. I ask you to come into ever single spiritual court of equity. I ask you to come into every single spiritual court of equity I have ever created, to act as sovereign neutral auditor of time-space existence. I ask that the master collective consciousness of all galaxies to come into my sacred space of sovereign reality to speak the universal truth to all ancestors present in the ever-present moment of now.
Oh, that's powerful for you too.
Yeah, it sounded awesome. The music behind it.
Mars conjunct Venus conjunct Moon.
You have no idea how hard it was to put these words together.
It's
I can imagine.
It must have taken ages.
And you know what? I used the word codex in my channeling. I had no, I'm seeing that you have that too. It's not a term that I use in conversation at all. And I had to double check it. I was like, does this even mean anything? I mean, sometimes it seems like it doesn't mean anything.
A codex is a set of rules. It means a set of rules, a set of codes.
Yeah, but it was like it's just not in my vernacular.
Vocabulary, yeah, exactly.
So when I'm trying to describe by unifying all source time codes, by asking every being that is true source to show its source identified time, it's asking, do they understand time or not? And if the being doesn't understand time or not, it determines how it functions with you. When you're assembling all of the master codexes of all spiritual courts of Ega, that's your multidimensional living life that includes your dreaming world. And it brings everything into a form of balance. And those things that are functioning with you that are still doing harm to other sentient kind are basically told, no, you can no longer do harm around me. Because I create my own lifetime. My own values, lifetime to lifetime.
That's fantastic. I mean, it really seems to cover quite a bit of arrangements.
The whole point is to bring everything as a neutral observer.
Yes, that's exactly. That's how I do with the Akashic Records. I have to be the neutral observer.
Yep. Cannot be anything else other than the neutral observer.
Right. Yeah, perfect.
So, JayPee, you got a whole lot of beings that are trying to communicate to you.
Yeah, and some of them use Skype as well. So, get in line, boys. What's up?
As I was saying earlier, they don't use Skype. They don't use calendars. They want you on universal time, not human time.
Yeah, it's interesting. I am rather out of time at the moment, in terms of like out with time, because I woke up at just about midnight tonight, and so like what I mean, I'm definitely in a non-timely realm at the moment, in terms of my daily cycle. So, and most of that I spent battling with my demon girlfriend's ego thing. so to get some nice communications from my star brothers and sisters is very comforting, because down here it's shit. No, but really also, today has been a day of like really dealing deeply with a pre-birth trauma that was really acting in my life a lot, and preventing me from responding correctly to invasions of myself. And so now I'm able, rather than whine about it, I am able to defend myself properly, and not let that crap in anymore, because I've not got the same weakness. So we'll see what it's like the next time I see her.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see, if how this alters my experience in a positive way. Thank you for sharing and writing this, Andrew. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I have several others that I'm spending the time to put more in. And this particular document is what, in its own expression, is asking me to step into a different frequency, to drop the old robes, be the universal citizen. And it's a humongous change for myself. It's just gigantic. Just like when you were called to your action and I was called to my action, now I'm called to the next level of action.
Right. Well, that's because they changed everything. They just changed not all the rules, but they changed everything.
Everything.
So probably the new objectives, or the new what happens, like in the military. Not to compare what we do as a military, but they have a new plan. So now you have to go and find out, or...
Well, new plan for me.
Yeah.
Been an old plan for them. They just didn't let us in on all the plans just yet.
Yeah, no, but it's like they they have the two train tracks, and suddenly they just moved the train track over to the other track.
I like to complicate what they do. It makes me feel better.
But yeah, no, I mean, I was watching that yesterday. I was like, oh, here we go. I've never seen this one before.
Well, guys, I must let you go. It is 1:30 in the morning here, and I've got to start by 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, I know. Thank you. It was a pleasure speaking with you, Andrew. Thank you.
Pleasure speaking with you, too. And, JP, we will have to stay in touch and talk about doing a project.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, look, first year was getting WolfSpiritRadio and getting that stable. Now there's me and Colleen that are running it. We could do with another producer. But anyway, second year, WolfSpirit.tv.
Very cool.
So, starting with Alex Collier, I'm going to I brought Jim Nichols in the other day. I'm going to have Stillings on soon. So, yeah, do come on. We'll have a blast. We always do.
Oh, we always do. We always do. All right, JP, I'll give you a holler either in the next day or two, and we'll figure out a time where we can come do something.
All right, Manny. God bless you.
All right, take it easy. Good meeting you,
JP. Nice to meet you too, Andrew.